It is a beautiful morning here in Vancouver, and the theme of this morning's video is going to be nice guys. What is a nice man? What is a good man? Right? What is a menacing man? I've used the analogy before, and the saying, men need to be menacing again because men have gone completely the other way. The women, for the most part, are more menacing than the men. It's kind of funny to say out loud here. But what is a nice guy? What is a good guy? What is a good man? And I think the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of a good man is respectable. A respectable man. What is respectable? What is respect worthy? I think somebody that sticks to their guns in the face of adversity, not bending over, right? My dad has a great analogy, and him and I disagree on quite a bit of stuff in regards to this, kind of like new age versus the old age, tried and true versus a little bit of nuance type of lens on things. But he always said his dad was such a flip-flopper that he hated that and would go the other way and would be very firm. He would never be a yes man. And I think that is very important. Being a good man, being respectable as a man, is not being a yes man. If you're a yes man, you cannot be respectable because you'll just go with whatever flavor of the day, whatever trend of the tides are happening at the time. But there's a little bit of nuance in between it. Right? If somebody comes with a better idea or a better solution or a new concept, being open to it and going with the flow, rolling with the punches, right? And roll. When it comes to nice guys, they just accommodate whoever's at the current convenience, shall we say. Right? If you're on a date with a woman, you'll rearrange your entire day around her. You'll rearrange your entire train of thought, your thought processes, your opinions to accommodate her. Or society in general. Society says to think this. Well, I believe this. Well, I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm going to go and do this. And I think when you really boil it down to it, like you really kind of boil it down to the minerals in the pot, shall we say. Being a nice man and being a good man, a respectable man, I think the big difference is being comfortable, not being accepted, and to disappoint some people, right? So I'll use this as the example. Bit of a hot topic. I had a girlfriend for about a year and change, and she wanted to have kids. She really wanted to have my kids. She'd always tell me, Travis, I want to have your babies. I said, that's fantastic. I love hearing that. It's great. It's much better than I just want to have babies. I want your babies. So fantastic, sweetheart. If you want my babies, there's a certain way we're going to do things. We're going to raise these children, right? I have a very specific vision in mind for how I want to raise good kids, boys, girls, male, female, different approach, obviously, to both of them. But I have a very specific vision in mind. And some of that will disappoint you and let you down. And I don't care, because I believe in my heart, in the bottom of my heart, in my soul, that this is the right way to do things based off what I see as an objective truth. And I'm not talking about this is my truth, right? I had somebody use this analogy the other day. Travis, you're speaking your truth. There is no my truth. There is the truth, right? This is the objective truth that I'm using my own two eyes to witness. This my truth, no. There is no my truth. There's the truth. Crazy. Anyway, one of those things was the alphabet soup stuff. And I try to be very careful with my wording on here because I know YouTube is very sensitive these days. But the alphabet soup agenda, the alphabet soup inclusivity, I said, that is never coming in this household. Ever. I have friends that are gay. They can do whatever they want. As a matter of fact, I would argue that they are my good friends, specifically these two men in Vancouver. They are my good friends because I treat them like men and they treat me like a man. There's no weird stuff in between. We're just two dudes, two men being men. That's it. No weird stuff, no propaganda. We're just men being men. It's why we get along so well. This new age think that seems to be very black and white. Either you're that way and you hate everybody, or you have to be as inclusive as possible, which is the right way to do things. I go somewhere in the middle. I would argue being inclusive is just treating them like a normal person, right? I wouldn't have gay friends if I wasn't inclusive in that aspect, right? I treat them like normal people. I'm not going to treat any better, any worse, just like everybody else. That's what it's all about, right? So back to this girl that I was dating. I told her that agenda is never coming in the house, ever, especially for my kids. Now, her sister was a part of that, and she would fight me tooth and nail. And I said, listen, I am going to die on this hill. I don't care what logic, what arguments you bring forward on stuff like this. My soul is not for sale. I believe in my heart of hearts this is the right way to do things. And as the man who is going to be the protector of the family and to protect you from yourself as well, I cannot live with myself if I was to say, yes, that is right. That's what we're going to do. And at the end of the day, she bounced. Cool. Totally fine. I wasn't willing to sell my soul and to sell out for that. Because it's not for sale. I don't believe that. I don't believe in that type of stuff. But being a good man, a respectable man in that situation, I am 100% okay with disappointing you because I believe this is right. I could have been a nice guy and just said, yeah, well, you know what, sweetheart, this is important to you, and we're gonna do that. And don't get me wrong, there are some things in relationships where, yeah, we're gonna bend. Okay, she wants ground turkey instead of ground beef. I don't care. Meat's meat. There's protein content. Put a little more fat in the pan if we're cooking the turkey or the chicken. Whatever. Not the end of the world. But when it comes to stuff like that, that is the big stuff. Not bending. There's like this much wiggle room, and it wasn't happening in that situation, right? My mom, for example, she believes, and keep in mind, we love women on this channel, and we love my mom. My mom is awesome. But she believes, it's still 1970, she believes that as a man, you can go out and get married. One man, one woman, sign a contract, Mark Carney and the boys. Mark Carney's right in the middle of the bed. There's you, Mark Carney, and your wife. And everything's going to be fine with the state involved. And I said, no, absolutely not. My dad, who has now been divorced twice, sees the writing on the wall. He gets it. My mom, who's also remarried, who's remarried to a man who's also been through the divorce grinder twice, also shakes my head at my mom and nods his head in agreement with me when I bring this type of stuff up. Because it's absolute insanity, right? I am okay with disappointing her that her son will never get married. I tell her all the time, Mom, I can have kids with a woman, I can love a woman, I can protect and provide, I can support my woman, and I can be there, and I can be the greatest father to ever exist when I have kids. And I don't have to get married to do so. Who says I have to get married? Show me where in the rule book it says, in order to have kids, you must be married. It doesn't exist. And I'm okay with disappointing her. I'm okay with disappointing my mother in that aspect, and I know I have, and I will continue to, because I believe, in my heart of hearts, this is going to get me the results that I'm looking for. It's going to get my future family better results, and keep the family together, and ultimately, you know who's going to win the most? My future kids. Because they are going to have a mother that's in the picture full-time. I'm going to be the father involved in the picture full-time. I would argue that today fathers are 1,000 times more important than mothers are, not because generally there's anything more important about men than women. I think the mothers and the fathers are very equally important. But we have such a lack of fathers in this world today. Men are not men anymore. If you have been as fortunate as I have to have plenty of encounters and experiences with women, you start to understand and put the pieces of the puzzle together very quickly and understand that most of these women would not be here encountering me if their fathers had been the men they were supposed to be. If they were engaged, active, loving, and supportive men, and not just pieces of furniture sitting around the house. Like, this chair is always on my balcony. I'd never take it off. It's always here. But is it engaged in my day-to-day life? No, it just sits here. That's kind of what most fathers are. So for those reasons, I am more important than my future woman, the future mother of my children, because they need a father so bad in a fatherless society. Objectively, mothers and fathers are equally as important, but in today's society, I believe fathers are more important. Therefore, I have to take drastic steps to ensure that I'm going to be in the picture and not alienated or taken away from my kids. And I will disappoint some people, my mother especially, because I'm not going to get married with the government. Oh well. I'm okay with disappointing her, and that is, again, a good man, a respectable man, versus being a nice man. Another thing, too, a very good friend of mine, I reference him from time to time in these videos. Maybe not a big-time household name in the NHL, but a regular name that if I said to you here, you'd be, oh, yeah, I've seen that guy. I've heard of him. I've seen him win a Stanley Cup or two. One of the things he says all the time is F you money. He calls it no thank you money. He has enough money and enough wealth to say thank you, but no thank you. That's how he likes to refer to F you money. And he always says, firmly, politely, but very assertively, no. Team he was playing for having a meeting one day. Coach was very disrespectful to him, and he just stood up and said, don't ever speak to me like that. And now some, myself included, pose the question, is that not a bad idea? You're making a lot of money in the National Hockey League. You're probably going to not put yourself in good favor. Maybe get sent down to the American League on a conditioning stint, aka punishment, and set yourself back in your career. And his response without hesitation to me was, my soul is not for sale. I'll make more money in the long term. I said, why is that? He said, I can't live with myself if I just sat there and I took that. I wouldn't be able to respect myself as much. And if I can't respect myself, I can't be as confident. It's going to show in my game. So I will take the long road. I will eat a little bit of shit because this is what I believe is going to be in my best interest. And again, my soul is not for sale. And this mentality in general doesn't really exist in Canada. Right? The idea of I'm okay with disappointing certain people because I'm going to stick to my morals and my beliefs and what I believe is the objective truth. This is right. This is in the best interest of things. It doesn't exist. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in a long time. Right? I encounter men every now and then. Don't really encounter a lot of men in Vancouver for some reason. Because everybody stays in their home working their .com job, their Zoom meetings. But anytime I do encounter men, they seem very soft and very pushovery, right? Very fluid, not firm and respectable. Maybe I'm wrong. You let me know in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you like what I had to say, you can become a channel member for 99 cents, get access to all of my videos, which are scheduled, ready to go live for your viewing pleasure, and support the content creation like this. People, please, comment section. What did I hit? What did I miss? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Please use that down below. And channel members, your comments will become videos in future videos. Well, more likely to, assuming they're not a bad idea. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.